And it is Sunday, July 9th, 2023. Welcome to studentloanjustice.org. If you're new to the group, we are the first, oldest, largest, and only true grassroots group, just a collection of normal people fighting only and absolutely for student loan justice. That means two things. That means, first and foremost, returning the leverage of bankruptcy rights to student loans. Number two, it means canceling all, not some, all, not $10,000, all federally owned student loans. In that order, by the way, I don't expect that people who are new to this group really know a whole lot about student loans beyond the fact that they have them and they suck. But take it from us. We've been around for 18 years now. We've looked at this problem extremely carefully. And unless and until we get the leverage of constitutionally enshrined, by the way, bankruptcy protections back on our side, whether you would ever or never file doesn't matter. Unless and until we get that leverage back on our side, we're not going to see meaningful student loan cancellation from this president or the next. The past 3.5 years have taught us that, and I can talk about that a little bit later. Couple of quick announcements. We still have a number of media requests out there. If you're willing to be interviewed about your own student loan situation, and particularly what you're planning on doing or how the turning on of the repayment system is going to affect your life, send me a paragraph or two about your situation, and I'm happy to forward it along. We've been really blowing up in the media lately, guys. In the past month, we've been featured in The Guardian twice, 3 times, at least 2 times. Newsweek twice for sure. I think 3 times. Fox News, many other places. So let me just say to everybody out there who has been interviewed for these stories, I salute you. This is what it's all about, ladies and gentlemen. Probably the most important thing I'll tell you tonight, particularly if you're new to the group. When you sit and you wait and you watch and you worry and you wring your hands and you watch talking heads like me on the internet or whatever, and you wonder, what are they going to do? Well, I can tell you what they are going to do as long as you sit there and do nothing. They are going to screw us. They are going to purchase second and third homes and put their own kids through college on your back. That's how that's going to go. That's the way it has gone for the past 18 years of our existence. The thing that we've learned many lessons over the years, but the most important one is that we, the people, you and me, have got to own this problem and have got to quit thinking that somebody else, thinking that they are going to solve this problem for you. It never happens that way. This is a working, fighting group, and we need everyone to be pitching in. The most important thing that you can do are your actions. So if you go to our website, studentloanjustice.org, you can see, and here's a bit.ly link to it. We do daily actions nearly every day, probably 5 daily actions a week. They're quick. They're easy to do. We've got over 1.4 or so million people in this group. If even 10% of the people on our group were doing our daily actions, we would overwhelm every Twitter account that we targeted. Most of our daily actions are really quick. It's like retweet this, retweet that. It's a lot of Twitter stuff. So I would strongly recommend that you get a Twitter account if you really want to help. It's other stuff too, though. It's making phone calls. It's setting meetings up with legislators. It's contacting the press, being interviewed by the press, many different things. So I would strongly recommend that if you want this problem, which is your problem, your livelihood is on the line here. If you actually want this problem solved, get into the habit of doing our daily actions. You know, there's many groups out there claiming to be fighting for student loan borrowers, ladies and gentlemen, but I'm here to tell you, the other groups that we've looked at are either don't know what they're doing or they're literally shamefully and viciously corrupted. There's many groups out there that don't actually want to solve this problem. They're making too much money on this problem. And the last thing they want to do is actually solve it. And I can talk about that a little more later if you have any questions. If you have any questions or comments, by the way, if you're watching us live on Facebook or Twitter, throw them out. I'm very happy to toss them around and hopefully be able to answer them. So tonight, guys, I want to talk about the road ahead. As everyone knows, the Supreme Court went against us. It was this group that started the entire concept, that got the entire concept of canceling student loans by executive order rolling with our petition at change.org/cancel student loans, and many, many other things that we did in the past 3.5 years to get this to be what has become a top of the news issue. So again, everybody in this group, and you know who you are, who have been doing the daily actions, who fought very hard over the past several years, we have a lot to be proud of. The Supreme Court decision sucks, though, and it really shows that in the absence of the leverage of bankruptcy, we're not going to see any meaningful student loan cancellation, guys. So tonight, I want to talk quickly about growing our base. We've got 1.4 million members on this group, and that's pretty good. But guys, we literally should have around 38 million people in our little group. That's true. There are 43 million federal student loan borrowers. There are another 10 or 12 million private student loan borrowers and cosigners. But of those federal student loan borrowers, 85% of them were underwater on their loans. So they either had stopped paying, and that was over half, by the way, or they were paying, but their loan balance was going up, not down. So that's 85% of all borrowers, by the way. That's 38 million people who are losing sleep over their student loans. And this group is the only group in existence that's fighting to actually solve this problem. When we get the leverage of bankruptcy returned, they will have to cancel loans very broadly, very meaningfully, very deeply, maybe even totally. I mean, quite frankly, the lending system, the federal student loan system, is so catastrophically failed at this point that when they return bankruptcy protections, the people in Washington may finally come around to acknowledging, realizing, and saying publicly that, yep, it's probably best for everyone involved if we just cancel this entire lending system. Like there is no baby anymore. It's all bathwater, and that's by and large true. So we can't tell the future, but we do know that what we do know is that we will see nothing good as long as the constitutionally enshrined right of bankruptcy is returned to these loans. We will see everything good, like no matter what you want to see with your student loans, whether you want to break on interest, whether you want to make it through one of the income-driven repayment programs, or some other middling negotiated solution. Whatever you want, it is not going to happen until we have the power of bankruptcy back on our side as it exists for all other loans in this country. So we need to grow our base, guys. The good thing is, since the Supreme Court, we've been adding around 1,500 signatures per day to our petition. So currently, and you can see our petition at change.org/cancel student loans. You can, we have around 1,190,000 signatures on that petition right now. We are going to make a very serious push in the coming month or so to get that petition growing. Many people out there are very disgusted and disappointed with the Supreme Court verdict. All of us are quite worried. I'm not actually so worried because I'm not going to pay. I knew I wasn't going to pay. I haven't paid for years. I'm a defaulted student loan borrower, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. It sucks. It's no picnic. But I, many years ago, decided that I would never pay another dime on my federal student loans unless and until we get the leverage of bankruptcy returned. Because until that happens, it's not a fair negotiation. It's not constitutional. Founding fathers called for uniform bankruptcy laws ahead of the power to declare war, by the way, ahead of the power to raise an army. So the founding fathers knew something, guys. And we do not have to put up with this bullshit. My best estimate is that when they do turn the loans back on, something like 80% of the borrowers will not resume paying. It was close to 60% were not paying before the pandemic. So that's going to go up by a lot. But guys, we need to get the right of bankruptcy returned, hopefully before they turn these loan payments back on. And we need more people to do that. So we need to grow our base. So Everybody probably knows 2, 3, 4, 5 people with student loans. If you know 5 people with student loans, the chances are 4 of them are losing sleep over their loans. Whether they tell you about it or not, they probably don't. But if you know 5 people with student loans, 4 of them are freaking out about it, either publicly or privately, probably privately. You need to find those people, and you need to tell them that there's a very honest, an ethically, absolutely pure group out there, which is us, Student Loan Justice, and we need their help because we are fighting their battle, and we can't do it without them. We came very close to getting bankruptcy rates returned last session, guys, but we didn't have quite enough people helping. That's got to change. That's got to change. So why don't you make it your personal mission over the next month or so to think about all the people you know with student loans. You don't have to pry. Just let them know that if they're worried about these loans being turned back on, there's a group that's fighting. And in your local area, by the way, if you go to our website, we have state chapters set up for all 50 states and also for expatriates living out of the country, I should add. Join your state chapter. They need your help. Our state chapters are getting pretty big right now. I think the average state chapter probably has over 100 members at this point. It's on Facebook. You got to have Facebook. Maybe you want to make a Facebook account explicitly for that purpose. I don't know. But the only way this problem is going to be solved, guys, is through the people, us, we, the people. That's how democracy works. That's how democracy has always worked. Now, you know, there are other groups out there on Facebook, Twitter, other places on the internet. They don't want you actually fighting. They want you sitting on your ass, waiting, watching, wondering, worrying, and they will shuck and jive and dance, and they'll pretend like they're fighting for you. But guys, I'm telling you, they're not. None of the other groups out there are fighting for the return of bankruptcy rights to student loans. And whether you would ever or never file for bankruptcy, as long as we don't have that power on our side, the Biden administration or the next presidential administration can pretend forever. They can foist these, I would say, fake, certainly feckless loan cancellation gimmicks on us that they have no real true intention of honoring forever. They can throw yet another income-driven repayment plan on our ass. They can screw with us and perpetuate this failed loan scam for a long time, ladies and gentlemen. And take it from me, I've been doing this for 18 years now, and many of the people in our group are in their 60s, 70s, 80s, and even older in some cases. The federal government, the Department of Education, they're not good guys on this. Certainly the Department of Education, certainly the Office of Financial Federal Student Aid, not good people on this. They would love to perpetuate this viciously predatory lending scam, and it is a scam. In fact, here's the first book ever written to be critical of the student loan program. I wrote this in 2009 with Beacon Press out of Boston. Student loans are a scam, ladies and gentlemen. But unless and until we get the right of bankruptcy return, it's just not going to happen. The other groups are not fighting for bankruptcy. That should be telling you a lot. In fact, you should be asking the tough questions of those groups. Like, why have you never said anything about bankruptcy? How come? Why did you not support S2598 last session? Or there was another bill two sessions ago. That really is that's a tell, ladies and gentlemen. And I can talk about that a little more if you really want. But for now, I think I'm going to keep it very short tonight. I think I've gone on a little bit longer than I was planning in the first place. But if you have any questions or comments, I'm looking for them right now, I promise. And if I can see them, I will very happily respond to them, whether you're watching us on Facebook or Twitter. But hey, guys, like I said, we're a grassroots group. Hopefully you can tell we don't have $1 million budget. We don't have a marketing department. We don't have, a bunch of secret deals that we do with the media and, so on and so forth. We don't have any of these secret Washington, D.C. connections, none of those things. All we have are people, meaning you and me. As I said, I'm a defaulted student loan borrower. You can bet that I actually want to not pretend, actually solve this problem. And I can tell you what it takes. And what it takes are normal people like you and me fighting. We need more people. We need to grow our base. And I'll have some much more to say about that very soon. But I will just say we're working with some pretty high-powered people right now. And we're going to see what we can do to get that petition back on the tracks. You know, I frankly think that we should be able to get the petition up to 10, if not 20 million signatures. If we can do that, guys, it's pretty much game over, man. I mean, 20 million people, can you imagine? And if even 10% of those people were doing our daily actions, like I hope that you will commit to yourself to do in the next week, that would be 2 million people a day overwhelming the switchboards of every phone bank in Washington, D.C. of the politicians who we target. That would be 2 million people retweeting our stuff and overwhelming the Twitter accounts of everyone who we target. You guys have no idea, I think, how powerful we could be. But that only matters when and if you help. So, and while I'm loading your comments, I should say, please donate, guys. We can survive and thrive on very little money. We require maybe $2,000 or $3,000 a month just to keep the lights on and keep our internet bills paid and our email expense and all that sort of thing. Right now, we need, I think, 14 people to donate $10 or more. And I'm sorry to have to ask, guys, but it's always just very difficult for us to fundraise. So if you appreciate all that we've done, if you appreciate all that we're doing, if you appreciate all that we are poised to do, most importantly, just please donate so I can shut up about it. Would you please? Okay. And you can see the link there. Hey, Joanna Turns with us from Florida tonight. Hey, Joanna. Hey, Aaron Root's with us from, I believe, Texas. Hey, Aaron. So Aaron says mainstream media does great job in actively deflecting from the bankruptcy situation. Yes, Aaron, that's very true. The mainstream media is against us, ladies and gentlemen. Of all the media that you might read, all the articles you might read on CNBC, on Business Insider, Forbes is absolutely disgusting. They're the worst. All these major media mainstream outlets, 95% of their stories are literally sort of seeded by our opposition, the people who want to keep this loan thing going. So, you know, bankruptcy is the kryptonite of the federal student loan program. And lo and behold, it is very rare that we can get a good article about the need to return bankruptcy rights to these loans into the media. You know, this loan cancellation stuff, and we're all for it, by the way. Like I said, we started the petition that started that whole thing. We're all for loan cancellation, guys, but the loan cancellation issue has become a massive, major distraction. The partisan lines have been drawn around it, and it's become this partisan bickering food fight, and it has sucked all the air out of the room. Meanwhile, bankruptcy, which is the kryptonite, remains gone from the loans. So you're absolutely right, Aaron. Yeah, gimmicks, absolutely gimmicks. You're right. These all the loan cancellation stuff that we've seen, frankly, back to 2007 and before, arguably back to 1995. Those have all been just cheap gimmicks, like the public service loan forgiveness program. Cheap gimmick, guys. Most people, the overwhelming majority, don't make it through. The income contingent repayment program. 32 people out of nearly or roughly 1 million people who've tried. 32 people have made it through. Income-based repayment. I don't think, nobody's made it through yet. Nobody will make it through until starting in, I think, 2027. Is that right? Yeah, that's about right. They're all gimmicks, guys. They're loan cancellation gimmicks. They're carrots that they dangle in front of our noses, but they have no desire or intentions of actually canceling any loans. So they can dangle this carrot in front of us forever and say, oh yeah, if you pay for 20, 25 years, you get your loans canceled. Well, what they don't tell you is that the overwhelming majority, 95, 96, 7, 8, 9% of all borrowers who try for those things are being disqualified out of the programs, and they're being left owing far more than had they never tried in the first place. I mean, we've got 5 income-driven repayment programs now, guys. Like, how many of these disasters, these gimmicks, are they going to throw onto the pile? It's frankly disgusting. Okay, guys, I've gone a little bit longer than I was planning on to tonight, but remember, guys, we need to grow our base, and we can only do that organically. The only thing that we have is the word of mouth, and that's your mouth. Seattle Seahawks Super Bowl champion quarterback Russell Wilson once said, or the whole team in their championship year, before the break, they'd say, "We're all we got," and then they'd say, "We're all we need." Well, how true that is for us, guys. We are the people. We are the lending program. We are the lending system. We are student loans. We control the lending system. We, the people. And if you don't fight with us, then we're going to lose. And that's just so true. Like, you have no idea how important you are, or I think more accurately, how important you could be. We need you fighting in the trenches with us. If you don't, they will do this forever, and all of us will spend the rest of our natural lives wrecked by this ridiculous, unconscionable, unconstitutional debt. This is your life and your livelihood hanging in the balance here, guys. And your country actually needs you right now, because remember, if they can do to other loans what they've done to student loans, and they can, if we let them, they will. They will make medical debt similarly non-dischargeable in bankruptcy, and everything bad that's happened with student loans we'll see with medical debt. All consumer debt, credit cards, small business loans, you name it, car loans. They would love to take bankruptcy away from those debts. And if the student loan camel's nose under the tent, is allowed to win the day, that's exactly what's going to happen, guys. John Adams said famously, there are 2 ways to conquer and enslave a country. One is by the sword. The other is by debt. Well, we are looking down the barrel of that gun right now, ladies and gentlemen. So this matters. This matters to you. And this is really going to matter to you September 1st when they turn these loans back on. So make a July 4th resolution or something to, at a minimum, do our daily actions. Do far more than that, by the way. We're all smart. We've all been to college. We can think of clever, smart things to do. We can all call our senators and congressmen and tell them as strongly and compellingly as possible that they had better get off their asses and return bankruptcy rights to these loans. You should be proud to be fighting this battle, by the way. I love this fight. It's the most noble, most worthwhile undertaking that I've ever had in my life. And this is a battle worth fighting because a lot hangs on it, including your financial future, by the way. So, and I think everybody on our group that I see here tonight will agree. It feels good to fight this fight. It feels cathartic. Because we're on the right side of history, guys. The founding fathers are on our side. The Constitution is on our side. And 38 million other people in the country would be on our side if they knew about us. So only you can make that happen. Only you. And I hope that you will take that to heart. So, okay, I'm going to wrap it up, guys. Sorry if I wasn't able to get to all your questions, but I'll be back tomorrow night, and we're going to have a very, very, very busy week. So please get ready, and let's do this. Take heart. Good luck. Godspeed. And God bless everyone. See you tomorrow.